Once, not long ago, in the farmland in the north, there was a community of plain folks who used the old-style farm tools instead of modern tractors and things. The menfolk were out in the field working one day, and two young girls had taken supper out to their fathers and uncles and brothers in the field. Walking home with nothing left of the meal except the dirty forks in their apron pockets, the girls passed the old iron gate of the graveyard. "That's where they buried that old witch today," said the sassy girl to the polite girl, just as the sun was going down. "Oh, you must not speak ill of the dead," said the polite girl. "That isn't nice at all." "I'm not afraid of that old woman," said the mean girl. "You're just a fraidy cat. Why, I'd go in and just spit on that old woman's grave, but you'd be too scared to come with me." "Even if she were a witch," said the polite girl, "it would be wrong of you to do that. Besides, you'd just go in there and wait behind a tree. Then you'd come out and claim you'd done it." "I would not," the other answered. "I'll just go right in there and spit on that old witch's grave, and to prove I did it," she pulled a fork out of her apron pocket as she spoke, "I'll stick this fork into the grave to prove I was there. You can go in tomorrow in broad daylight and see." With the fork in her hand, the sassy girl went through the old iron gate into the dark graveyard and walked among the trees and tombstones until she came to the fresh grave of the old woman. The sun was down, and long shadows fell across the pile of dirt that covered the grave. It was hard to see in the darkness, but the brazen girl leaned over and spit on the dirt. "Take that, old witch," said the mean girl, and she bent over and stuck the fork into the dirt to show she had been there. Just then, she felt something grab onto the hem of her long dress. When she tried to stand up, it pulled at her dress. She looked down in the darkness and saw something white, like the bones of a hand, holding on to her, pulling her back down. She screamed, "She's got me!" and fainted. Outside the graveyard, the polite girl heard the scream and ran back to the field to get her father and brothers. The men were already walking home for the night and met her on the road. She told them what had happened, and they hurried to the graveyard with one candle lantern to light their way. Inside the graveyard, the polite girl led the men and boys all the way back through the trees to the grave of the old woman. There lay the body of the sassy girl, fallen over the grave. When the men lifted the girl, she woke up. Everyone laughed. When the sassy girl had bent over and stuck the fork in the ground, she had caught the bottom of her own dress. It was only the fork that had grabbed her and held her to the old witch's grave.